Working as a ref, working at an arcade, pale in comparison to another job I had. You guys ever, like, how do I say this? You ever be at like a birthday party and then like a life-size version of a cartoon character will show up, and you like look at like the guy in the costume and you think, man, I'd hate to have that job. You're right to think that, and I'll tell you why. My mom's friend is a school teacher. Her name's Renee, and she does character parties on the side, where she will bring popular cartoon characters to like birthday parties or restaurants. And she needed someone to wear the costumes. How you doing? Guess who had to do it? I'll give you the hint. He's talking into a microphone right now. I've had to be SpongeBob. I've had to be Scooby-Doo. I've had to be Bob the Builder. I almost was Dora, but I charmed my way out of it. The worst one to be out of all those cartoon characters was Elmo. It's fine, guys. You're upset? I'll tell you why you shouldn't be. So the way this would work is a very common place we would go to would be Ram's Horn, which is a delightful family restaurant in Detroit. They're all very, yeah, Ram's Horn. Hey, all right. I am less enthusiastic about that place than you are. So the way it would happen is I would have to drive separately. I would pull into the parking lot of Ram's Horn. I would have to park in the corner of the parking lot near the dumpster, because the dumpster, behind the dumpster, is where I would have to put on the costume. Because kids are still walking into the restaurant, they don't want to see like a frowning 17-year-old like donning a onesie of Elmo. Like, that kind of ruins the experience for them, doesn't it? So here I am putting on like a full Elmo costume behind a dumpster in July. And like after that, we have to wait a little bit longer to make sure everybody goes inside. So I'm standing behind a dumpster in a full Elmo costume, just peeking. And like I'm not sure this ever happened, but I can't imagine being someone who is just walking by and is walking down the street and he like glances over and he sees just like full-sized Elmo just like waiting. Like, what does he have planned? So after everybody went into the restaurant, it was time to escort me across the parking lot, and I couldn't see anything because the head of Elmo is about this big, and you can only see out of like the mouth of it, but the mouth's also closed, and it's like a netting thing only so you can breathe. So I'm getting like escorted through the parking lot, and the head's really heavy, so I'm walking like this and dragging my feet. And then we get to the door, but the thing is, Renee had to set up the music for my grand entrance. So she goes, okay, I'm gonna go set up the boombox. I'm gonna go get everything ready. And then she walks me to the edge of the street on Gratiot, which is a street in Detroit, one of the busiest streets in Detroit. She goes, what I want you to do is I want you to stand right here, and I want you to wave to cars as they go by. You do a lot of soul searching when you're dressed as Elmo by yourself, waving like this. And Elmo is like, the face is like a foal, but within the face is just like the saddest frown. Like, it's $40, it's $40, it's fine. So when Renee was done setting up the music, she would bring me into the restaurant and go, hey kids, look who I found on Sesame Street, it's Elmo. And people would lose their minds. Even the adults would be like, wow! Yeah! You're on my TV, now you're here. You're a lot bigger than I thought. So we would walk in and we would go table to table, meeting families. I would meet my adoring fans. And parents would make me hold their babies. Like mothers would come up to me and be like, Elmo, will you hold Veronica? And I'd be like, I only have 3 fingers. So I'm holding, like, they would make me hold childs, and like take pictures with them. And the entire time I'm thinking, I'm at great risk of doing the worst thing you could ever do, which is drop a child in an Elmo costume. I don't know why, like, wearing the Elmo costume makes it worse. I think we all know why it makes it worse, but like we can't really put it to words. We just know that it doesn't help. Like, normal guy, it's like, oh, this guy dropped my baby. But like now it's like, Elmo dropped my kid. So we'd go table to table, we'd meet everybody, and then after that, we'd be about an hour in and be time for my break. Because, I don't know if you know this, wearing an Elmo costume in July, you get really warm. So for my break, they would take me into the kitchen of the Ram's Horn, escort me to the freezer, open the freezer, go, all right, you got 10 minutes. I would walk into the freezer and they would close the door behind me. You do a lot of rethinking about where you are in life when you are standing half-dressed in an Elmo onesie in a freezer of a Ram's Horn. And I'm just sitting there like there's nothing else to do but really just kind of look around, so I'm just looking. And one time I'm just looking around and I notice on the shelf there's just one unpackaged strip of bacon on a shelf. And my only thought is, I hope they don't use that one. And I never found out if they did. They would take me out of the freezer. They would allow me to thaw out for a minute. And then it was time for the games and dancing portion of Elmo at Ram's Horn. So we would play hot potato. We would do the limbo. And by the way, I can't see anything, so I'm just like holding the stick of limbo. Just, Elmo, lower the stick. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll do that. And we'd also dance to songs, but it'd be the same song every time. I now know every word to the Cupid Shuffle. I now know every word to the Cha-Cha Slide. Now it's time to get funky, funky. I'm just gonna try a little social experiment here. Everybody clap your hands. Okay, all right. It's amazing what someone can do with a microphone. The power they wield is too much power any one man should have. So I'm dancing, and by the way, I'm not a good dancer when I'm not dressed as Elmo. I look pretty ridiculous. But as Elmo, it's worse because there's not a lot of movement you can do. I will say one thing, it's worse when you're Scooby-Doo. Here's why. The head is a lot more top-heavy, so like you really can't see because it pulls you forward. And you have a tail, so like you gotta be real kind of careful with how you're moving because you don't want to like whack a kid with your tail. Although sometimes I did that. Like if they were really annoying, I would just like do like a quick hip check, and the tail would like knock them 20 feet, and that was really great. I didn't do that. The worst part about playing games, though, when you're dressed as Elmo, are you guys familiar with the toy Tickle Me Elmo? Yeah. It's still very popular today, and I'll tell you why. Because when kids see a life-sized Elmo, their instinct is to tickle Elmo. But here's the thing, kids don't know how to tickle. Kids tickle you by just pummeling you. Just... Is this fun, Elmo? No. And the problem with that is, they're pummeling you and they are yay high. They are yay high. So I'm getting destroyed by like a bunch of 5-year-olds. And like I'm recoiling like this. And I hear one parent turn to the other and say, huh, that was a guy. You guys have been great. Thank you very much. We got a $5 fine coming up next. Guys, thank you. Have a good night.